Well, on this episode, we're going to be discussing something that I am always interested in, which is, does Hollywood accurately portray Christians, generally speaking? This episode is one of those episodes where you're actually going to come into a conversation that Roger and I might have at our house, especially sitting around the TV watching a television series, because this actually does happen.
Frequently.
This episode happens in our home frequently.
We'll have to do this one again, I think. So,
yeah.
Hollywood!
Hollywood!
So the question we're going to focus on is what we continually see portrayed as an average churchgoer or an average pastor. Let's explore some more recent examples. And here we go. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So Angela from The Office.
Yep, Angela from The Office. She is hypocritical to the highest degree. She's judgmental. I'm gonna read my notes here. She's shallow. Mm-hmm. She doesn't seem to know anything about the Bible. Just in case you were wondering. Doesn't follow the golden rule in the least.
So the next one we want to look at today is Shirley from
Community.
Go ahead.
Oh, I get to read her. So Shirley is as stereotyped as they get. So if you've watched Community, I mean, that's no surprise because every character is an archetype or a stereotype.
What do you mean?
What do I mean by?
Well, every character is a stereotype or an archetype. What does that mean?
Community it's a unique show in which even the show itself reflects show stereotypes, like the comedy show, the old Western show.
Gotcha.
The characters on the show they're archetype characters that you might find in other shows.
Okay.
So they represent like a collective.
Somebody in the office would translate on a Community would translate onto Happy Days and so forth?
Well, actually, it would be that somebody on The Office, Happy Days, Bosom Buddies.
Hey!
Bosom Buddies, if you know that show, that's an old one.
I don't know if I ever watched Bosom Buddies.
Tom Hanks was in that. I think it was one of his first ones. Like all these old sitcoms, you could take a bunch of people and make them into an amalgam.
I love that word.
I don't know if that's right.
I use it wrongly a lot, so she always goes, "No, that's not it." But when I get it right, she's like, "Okay."
So yeah, you could bring a bunch of people together, and they would be what I think the director's name or director was Dan Harmon. Is that right? Yeah. So
on Community.
Yeah, on Community. So he's bringing a bunch of different kinds of people he's seen and grown up with on different shows and putting them into one character.
Yeah.
But she is stereotyped. She's as stereotyped as they get when it comes to evangelical Christians. She's hypocritical, shallow, easily swayed. She's judgmental, constantly hiding her past. It's like the writer knows an evangelical Christian. Sorry, it's not all evangelicals, but that was something that I personally experienced. Anyway, constantly hiding her past. She unnervingly inserts statements about Jesus in very inappropriate ways. Every time she talks about Jesus, I want to go, no!
Quit representing us this way! From The Office. All right, so we have two more. The next one is Sheldon Cooper and his mom.
Yep, his mother.
Your mom, Sheldon Cooper's mom.
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. Now, Sheldon is originally from Houston. We lived in Houston for 13 years.
Okay, so do you mean Sheldon, the character, or
Sheldon.
the actor that plays Sheldon?
The actor that plays Sheldon. There we go. Thank you very much. So the actor that plays Sheldon, Jim Parsons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's S.
I think so. Yeah. So he lived in Houston. So a lot of the references that they have is from the evangelical South, which is where we served for 13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a bonus, Sheldon is actually from the Houston area because he references the Baybrook Mall in one of the episodes.
Yes.
Anyway.
Although they put it in Galveston, but it actually wasn't in Galveston.
Yeah,
anyway,
I know. I don't know why he did that. He's from the area. Anyway. All right.
All right, so we have Angela from The Office, Shirley from Community, Sheldon and his mom from Big Bang Theory, and then our last one will be pastors in general in Hollywood and just how they're represented.
All right.
Go for it.
So there's a Christianity Today article called When Hollywood Goes to Church. And it talks about different stereotypes of Christians in Hollywood. And so they said this about pastors in general. They said, preachers are usually judgmental jerks in the movies, but naive simpletons on TV.
Truth.
We're looking at you, The Simpsons. If a pastor is in a scene for anything other than a funeral, wedding, or confession booth, they'll turn out to be hypocritical or downright evil. If they're preaching on TV or radio, they're only after your money.
True.
If they pastor a megachurch, they're adulterous hypocrites. Now, that's from the article.
Yeah.
We kind of want to give Community a pass here because on that show, every character is an archetype, as I said before. So you have like the white feminist activist. You have the... Britta. You have Annie, who kind of portrays the Catholic schoolgirl, but she's Jewish. So I don't know what there's kind of a mix there. You got the agnostic, jaded Gen X lawyer.
Jeff Winger.
Yeah, the evangelical Christian mom.
Shirley.
The Asperger's spectrum creative.
Abed,
yeah. The former high school jock.
Troy.
And the wealthy white boomer.
Chevy Chase, Pierce. Yes.
So I'm tempted to give Community a pass. I know I brought in Shirley, but I just can't because Shirley's so cringeworthy. Oh, that's nice.
Oh.
She says that all the time. And what they're showing you is this veneer, like she's not really sweet, right? She has this jaded past and she's really a mean person and she's struggling with that. But so she covers it with this veneer of sugary sweetness.
Yes.
And
I like your word veneer.
I gotta say, I've experienced a little bit of that in Christianity.
I've experienced a whole lot of that in Christianity. That's why I'm still in ministry.
Like,
don't do that. Make your faith real.
It's
Come
like
on.
all sugary sweet on the front.
Yeah.
But that's as far as it goes. It's just the icing. The cake is actually rotten.
Yes.
But the icing is really nice on the top. And Shirley, I was going to call her
Sugary Shirley.
She kind of represents that. But so we're saying that we're going to give Community a little bit of a pass, even though we're still using Shirley in our group of our stereotyping Christians within Hollywood.
But not.
I didn't really know much about Christians. And so when I came into the church and I had been reading the text that Christians believed, I thought they were going to be the people who were seeking after the stuff I read in the Bible. And I mean, like wholeheartedly and earnestly, like so naive. What I found when I came into church was people. Right?
No.
I found people, Christians aren't reducible to a single archetype. And I had to actually, when I was writing Why I Still Believe, we'd back and forth a lot because I kept flatlining them into this Southern evangelical person. And you kept saying, but not all Christians act that way. But not all Christians are like that.
I'd even push back on the individual people that we're trying to build from.
Yeah.
And say, no, they weren't exactly all just that. People just aren't static, though. We can't flatline them to a certain view because that becomes problematic. And I'm thinking about certain characters. If we were to do that, like Robert Downey Jr., if you knew him before he became Iron Man, he was actually...
Way before Iron Man.
Yeah, way before Iron Man. He had all kinds of vices and problems, was in jail. I mean, the guy was just a mess. But you look at him today, and he's an incredible actor. Yeah. I mean, he's Iron Man.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the Marvel movies, I won't tell you what he does.
Now you just ruined a whole bunch of kids.
I said nothing. But anyway, Iron Man, awesome. But, Robert Downey Jr., I can understand why he was the way he was because I was around when his dad was on TV. Yeah, his dad was a big mess, so it's no surprise that...
It was rough,
that, he turned out the way that he did. So, yeah, you really can't put people in a box because they're more than that.
Right. We're consuming a lot of easy entertainment, and books are a little bit harder. I mean, for me, I would say they're not much harder, but...
That's why you are the professor.
Oh, man. Anyway, so many things I want to say on that.
The Bible's a book, too. Read the Bible.
Hey. Jesus juked our people.
Hey, I'm the pastor. I
Read the Bible. And then you mentioned the Brothers Karamazov.
Yes.
Like, when I started reading that book by Dostoevsky.
It's just fun to say Dostoevsky. Yeah, it's Russian.
First of all, I read it on Kindle. I'm not going to recommend that to people because I got in there, no idea how long this book was. And I keep reading and I keep reading and I keep reading. And I'm a fast reader. And I keep reading and I'm like, I am not. The little progress bar was going nowhere. Like 2 weeks in, it barely moved. I'm like, what is going on? It's like a 900-page book.
It's like trying to download on dial-up. Remember those?
I don't know if anybody else remembers what a modem is, but hey.
Still in my 40s.
Those external modems like that.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, it's a dial-up modem.
Dial-up, yeah.
We still have external modems.
That's crazy.
Anyway, Roger said, I feel like these brothers are more real people than some of the real people I know. Like they are more well developed. They have more depth. They have more complexity, and I know more of them because I'm seeing it through the author's eyes than a lot of the people I encounter. That's
good.
So
yeah, well said. So we do want to take a break here for a second and highlight some people that are doing some great work. Mary Jo mentioned Cinema Therapy, and they're on YouTube. They do great work. I think I've cried on every one of their episodes. They're fantastic. So check them out on Cinema Therapy. And then the other one I do want to desperately highlight because they're doing such good work is at Houston Baptist University, where you're a professor.
Yes.
We have the Cinema and New Media Arts program, and they offer degrees where you can learn how to make film and all the things that go with that. Be a key grip. I don't even know what that is, but they offer
a best boy.
A best boy, yeah. But you learn how to do new media arts and cinema. And check out Houston Baptist University, and the website is
cinema.hbu.edu.
There it is. So check them out. All right. So the next segment that we're going into is Patreon specific. If you're not on Patreon yet, come on, $3 a month. $3 a month.
He's shaming you now.
And all that $3 a month does is it helps us to get microphones, lights, and all kinds of cool backdrops and stuff. It helps us to get resources so when we do these shows. So $3 a month, there's I think a $7 a month, and then there's up from there $15 a month or whatever you want to help us with. So yeah, check us out on Patreon.
I'll do my ask. So we're going to go into the next section in which we're going to further explore people in the Bible who aren't even represented in Hollywood. And Roger and I are going to talk about our own Christian personalities and try to relate them to people, key players in the Bible, and say, yeah, neither are we represented. So that's the kind of material we're going to keep on discussing in the Patreon section of the show. We'd love to have you join us. Become a patron of the Pastor and Professor.